All right, so on my last video, I cut a lot of corners when it came to my foundation and just kind of my basic face look. So today I'm just gonna be going full in depth on what I do on like a night out or whatever. Right now we're in COVID, but in general, if I had a party to go to or if I was hanging out with friends, this is a full face foundation and concealer and bronzer and all that for a night out. So let's get into it. All right, so I'm starting out with the e.l.f. primer. This is the mineral infused face primer, and it's just a translucent face primer that I use as a base for my makeup. And I'm just gonna be putting some on my fingers and mostly putting it around the middle of my face and then kind of blending it out onto my eyelids and the rest of my face. All right, so then I'm using the Kat Von D foundation in Ivory. This is just the shade I use. It's one of the lightest shades that they have. All right, and then I'm just gonna be putting a little bit on my black beauty blender right here. Same one as the last video. And I'm just putting a couple dots on there. And then I'm just gonna be putting it under my eyes, on my forehead, and any red zones I have on my face. And then down the middle of my nose. And then I'm patting it out again. So, patting it in actually helps a lot more if you're trying to make a natural base, because if you're smearing it like this, it's just going to be creating lines on your face and it'll look like wrinkles, or it'll just look like if you've ever dry brushed with a paintbrush before and you don't dip it in water beforehand, it just ends up looking very streaky and like painted on. So patting it in individually, like very gently, helps it kind of blend into your skin. All right, and then I'm just gonna be using this Instant Age Rewind Eraser Concealer from Maybelline. And it's just a big sponge applicator that has concealer coming out the middle, so it's kind of like a blender in one. I'm going to twist this up a little bit because I'm almost out. And then I'm just going to be smearing some under my eyes. As you can tell, I'm almost out of it. But I have this in the lightest shade and I love it so much because it's so full coverage. I end up looking for like a clown or an alien for a bit, but it's worth it because it gives the perfect like white base for my eyeshadow, which makes the colors really stand out. And then I'm just blending it out again. And like I said, I'll be looking like an alien for a bit, or a naked mole rat, but it's all part of the process. I've got to be a blank canvas first before I add colors. Right, so now that I look actually dead and corpse-like, I'm gonna be putting this setting powder on it. I'm using the Kat Von D Lock-It Translucent Setting Powder. This is my favorite powder to use just because it's very translucent and super soft, like incredibly soft. If you're a darker skin tone, it's gonna be kind of powdery and pretty white on you, so I wouldn't recommend it for much deeper skin tones, just because this is the only shade they have and it's literally like paper white. But it works for me because I'm paper white. I'm just gonna be using the flat side of my beauty blender right here. My beauty blender from CVS just has this little flat end right here, this half circle. And I'm just going to be packing the powder onto that. And once again, I'm patting this in with the damp beauty blender. And I'm making sure to go heavy under the eyes and on the eyes, but light around the forehead and like the chin, because it tends to wrinkle really easily around there. And then it ends up flaking because, I don't know, for me, my skin's drier in my forehead. So if I end up putting a lot of makeup right there and powder, it ends up looking really cakey. I have a feeling most people also have that problem, so that's just a word of advice from me. And I'm going kind of lightly over my nose too, because my nose gets kind of dry. All right. Now I'm gonna be contouring with this little contour brush. Excuse me. I'm going to be using the Orb of Sight palette. It's very dark. I'm going to be tapping into Wolf and Black very, very, very lightly. Maybe even a bit of this. This is Cold down here. And I'm just going to be using the tiniest little bit on my brush. And then just kind of tap it on my hand just to see what the color's like. And then I'm just gonna be kind of smashing the color into my cheek. And it helps to kind of like do the fish face. You can find your inner contours of your face, I suppose. And just follow that line. And then I also go a bit on my temples right here. And then under my chin. Because I have a tiny little bit of an under chin, or a double chin, sorry. All right. And then I'm gonna be contouring my nose really quickly with this little angle brush. Just a simple little angle brush that I got probably off Amazon or something. And I'm going to be using the same colors and very lightly tapping it out. And then just going to go on the outside of my nose and create this fake contour line. Just a big stripe on the side right there. And then I'm doing the same on the other side. And I can kind of blend it out with my finger. Then I'm going a little bit right here just so I have like a little button nose. And then under my nose. And then I'm going to blend it out a little bit. Take a little bit of concealer and just go down the middle. And blend it out again. And then a bit on the sides, just so I have a clean line. And I also like to go under my contour right here and just kind of sharpen it. It's kind of red right here, so I'm just going to cover it up. Good enough. And then just setting the whole face again. And I like to go extra hard under my contour just to have it very like clean line. All right. Then I'm going to be highlighting with the Moonchild palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is the Glow Kit. It's got very nice colors for my skin tone. It's also got darker purples on this side, so if you're a darker skin tone, it would look really nice with these ones. Honestly, all of these would look great on any skin tone just because they show up so like pigmented. But I'm gonna be using the Blue Moon just a little bit and Pink Heart. And then I'm just gonna go right here on the very tops of my cheekbones. On my Cupid's bow, a bit on my chin, my brow bone, and then I like to get really detailed with my nose. So what I do is, I just scratched that, but I take the Blue Moon and Pink Heart and I mix them, and then I take this tiny little brush, like a pencil brush, and then I just make a little dot on my nose right here. And then a stripe down the middle. And I also like to go on my inner corners, like this. Just looks like my eyes are glowing. That's about it. Also do like a little U on my lower lip just so it looks kind of like glossy, but I don't like gloss because it's sticky. And that's it for the base. So thanks for watching. This is the full base of my face. I hope you enjoyed. Stick for more.